Welcome into historic Cameron Indoor Stadium on the campus of Duke University as the host Blue Devils get ready to take on the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. Along with Nicole Branna, I'm Alex Loeb. And Nicole, at this point in the season, Duke is trying to make a late season push to get on the bubble and somehow find their way into the postseason tournament.
Well, both of these teams need victory tonight. They're both 6-9 in conference play, so a win for Duke tonight would be huge as they are on that bubble, and everyone wants to go to the big show at the end of the year, the NCAA tournament. So there's a lot on the line for both sides.
The Blue Devils are led by their star senior Gracie Johnson, top 5 in the ACC in a number of categories.
Well, she is really crushing the ball this year, that's for sure. An experienced player coming off a huge 24-kill game against Boston College. She not only brings the heat from the front row, but she is leading the ACC in service aces per set. So keep an eye on that powerful serve tonight as she tries to score some extra points there from the end line.
Talented upperclassmen. When we go from the senior to a freshman leading the way for Wake Forest in the form of Paige Crawford.
And she is a fearless freshman, and they definitely need that tonight. Crawford is doing a phenomenal job leading this team and bringing some monster kills. Duke has a pretty solid block, so she's going to need to get out there tonight and find ways to get by it and score those points for her team.
Wake Forest led by Randy Smart in her 4th season. Her squad coming off a 3-1 win over Virginia Tech in their last matchup. And there you see Smart with a pregame hug along with Jolene Nagel, the longtime veteran head coach of the Blue Devils in her 35th season, 24th with Duke, sitting on 682 career victories. The Blue Devils come in 15-11 overall, and they've been very impressive at home this year. Nicole, 11-3. They've won 2 in a row, overcoming a number of injuries throughout the season.
Yeah, it seems to be a theme throughout the game with the injuries and teams and who's available for what night, but they've got a good squad out there tonight and feeling good about it. And you know, some of that adversity helps bring the team closer as the year's gone on and given some experience to those players that might not have been out there all season.
At one point or another, they've had 5 different players go down with injuries, including one for the season. Madison Bryant, who's supposed to be a key performer for them. She was lost very early in the year. But again, they've managed to still put together a winning record, 15-11 overall. As for their opponent, Wake Forest, they're 14-12, but they've dropped 7 out of their last 9. And their head coach, Randy Smart, says, listen, we're trying to get things going. We know there's only a few games left in the regular season, but they're an extremely young team. We mentioned the freshman Crawford. They have a number of freshmen leading the way, building this program long-term, is Randy Smart.
One of the things I like, she said, is they're going for some of those stats that you don't record. They're good at those things, the positive touches and things like that.
The hustle stats. These two squads meeting for the 2nd time in 10 days. And we are underway in the rematch. Wake Forest serving here in Durham, North Carolina, and Duke will take the opening point. 10 days ago, the Blue Devils picked up their first ACC sweep of the season by taking down Wake Forest, hitting 291 in the process. Blue Devils haven't lost to Wake Forest at home in a decade. 2012 was the last time. Setting things up is Devon Chang. There's the senior Gracie Johnson on the attack. Wake Forest responds, and that one is out. The Blue Devils grab an early 2-0 lead. We mentioned Duke hasn't lost at home to this Wake Forest team in a decade. They haven't even dropped a set, Nicole, to the Demon Deacons in 5 years, so some dominance as of late for the Blue Devils.
Well, with serving like that, they're off to an excellent start. Got to get behind that ball, but that was a very nice serve. Good hand on the ball, down the line, trying to take that outside hitter out of the attack.
Devon Chang, the grad transfer from UCLA serving. Nearly 1,000 assists on the season. Been a huge addition to this team. There's Chang with the dig. They set up Johnson on the left side. On the attack as Wake Forest and the Demon Deacons get their first point of the evening. Wake Forest started the season strong, 6-2 to begin the year at 8-3, and then they hit a 2-week road trip that Randy Smart says really took a turn for the worse. They ended up losing 5 in a row, and 7 of their last 8. There's a service error. Duke goes back up by 3.
Yeah, that long 2-week road trip she mentioned, going back and forth, juggling studying and practices. But you know, when you have a young team, it takes some time to figure out that balance and how to make it work.
Gracie Johnson with the serve. That sent a Demon Deacon reeling, and Wake Forest trying to answer right back, but it's Duke with the point. And Wake Forest arguing that it was touched. Let's get another look.
Well, one thing about this Duke block is they get there and they front well, and you don't want to try to avoid them when you're attacking. You want to attack that block. Go high hand, swipe it off. So Wake Forest is going to have to figure out ways to get that ball down tonight with some creativity.
And it looks like we will have our first challenge of the match. You saw a look at a replay a moment ago. I believe it was Devon Chang in the back row who Wake Forest thought may have gotten a hand on it. And they will review this one with Duke off to the hot start here in Durham. The Blue Devils on a 59-19 all-time record against Wake Forest. You know, Nicole, it is a key match for the Blue Devils, which just a few to go in the regular season. They're in the 70s in RPI, and Jolie Nagel said, hey, listen, we have an important win over Michigan earlier in the year. Hopefully the committee will see we dealt with a number of injuries. We lost some starters as you get another look at the replay. So this is an extremely important match for them. As for the replay, what do you see there?
Well, it looks like she's trying to take that overhand, and it might have nicked that finger, but it's hard to tell the movement of it. It's a little bit blurry in that first angle we saw, but I think she was going up to attack it last minute, pulls those hands down, but it might have just nicked her. But again, the referees will need to make sure 100% that there was a touch on that in order to reverse it.
Yeah, didn't see any movement in the net, at the net. The closest call I saw came behind there. Again, Chang in the back row, but it looks like they are possibly only reviewing the play at the net. They will continue to take a look at this one.
And the thing about these challenges, sometimes you really have to count on the players to tell you. I've seen several matches this year where the ref has missed a touch, but all the players had the hands in the air for the touch, and the coach is on the other side of the bench. So they're really, you know, the players are up close and personal, if you will, so they're the ones that will probably know the most, and the coach trusting them that they felt it went the other way. But this one looks like over her head, and I don't know if that can be called in either. It looks like it's just outside the line there.
It looks clearly out. As they wrap up the review. And it was touch. They obviously saw something conclusive enough instead of 5-1 Duke. It's now a 4-2 match here in the early goings at Cameron Indoor Arena. Nearly an ace there for Wake Forest. Rachel Richardson responds, keeping it alive. Wake Forest with the point. Duke has been so good all year here at Cameron Indoor Stadium, but trying to improve the conference record, 6-9 overall in ACC play. As for Wake Forest, they're in the 90s in RPI, Nicole's, but at this point in the season, what do you think Randy Smart is telling her team? A lot of young players, they're not going to lose a lot in the future as they drop one in, and they have tied things early here in set number 1.
Well, when we talked to Coach Smart the other day, you know, she said they'd been struggling with finishing the set. They were playing very well. So the last couple of weeks in practice has been all about competition and just finishing. No matter what the score is, she wants her team to be out there competing, playing to win. And that's exactly what they need to do tonight. Just to get that win, get the confidence. As we mentioned, a young team, but all these wins just help build that as the season goes on, or it's early on or at the end. So
Rachel Richardson, yeah, with the attack. Devon Chang with an incredible defensive play moments before that. Chang this time setting up Richardson. The block is there for Wake Forest. And how about the Demon Deacons going on a little run here to take the lead early on?
Well, these last two attacks we've now seen in the replay, Wake Forest is doing a nice job attacking the block and also getting their block up there and stopping the Duke hit.
The near side, that one off the touch. It was Carrie Keefe, freshman for Duke, on the attack. Number 10 ranked recruit in the nation coming out of California. And for Devon Chang, she picked up the assist. That's 2 on the night and 1,000 for the season for the grad transfer from UCLA. However, more importantly, Wake Forest has retaken the lead here early on. Again, second time these two squads are battling in the last 10 days. Nicole, how much stock do you put into the last matchup, which was a 3-0 Duke sweep?
Well, it sounds like Wake Forest was a little bit not, as the coach mentioned, not themselves after that long road trip. So I'm expecting a big battle out here tonight. And I know Coach Nagel said, I'm nervous because they have a lot of hitters out there on Wake Forest. They've done a 6-2, a 5-1, so we don't know what we're going to see, but we need to be ready to grind it out for a long 5-setter tonight. So I have to agree with her. I think we're in for a long match tonight, right down to the wire.
Yeah, Jolie Nagel said these are the matches that make us anxious, as that one skims off the top of the net. Wake Forest setting things up on the near side. That was Peyton Seuss, the senior, on the attack. And off the touch.
Looking for that high hand. She's still calling the touch. It is a smart shot to go off those high hands and not able to cover it. The opponents, you just go for those fingertips and hope that that ball keeps on flying.
Seuss second on the team in kills, nearly 800 for her career.
We got some early challenges here, Alex. I think, as we mentioned, both these teams want to win. A lot on the line here. Every single point counts, and if you think there's a chance, you pull that card out and try to get the point going your way.
Second challenge of the match. Meanwhile, tomorrow we'll have the women's basketball game of the night right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. How about Dawn Staley and #1 South Carolina taking on Clemson? That'll be from Littlejohn Coliseum. Both teams come in undefeated on the young season. Our coverage begins again tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. Here in Durham, North Carolina, second challenge of the match underway. Wake Forest trailed 4-1 early. They have the lead. What do we see there, Nicole?
Well, you see one side saying, no way, we didn't touch that. And you see the other one doing the touch signal. So they're hoping even a fingernail touched that ball. But, you know, I like the attack, going for the high hands. Duke has been blocking well. I think they're number 4 in the ACC with the blocking stats, blocks per set. So you got to find a way to score and get by it. I mean, you've got 2 blockers up there going high hands, swiping it off, going short over that double block to the open area, I think, and hope we'll see a lot of that from Wake Forest tonight to try to score around it.
Meanwhile, at the beginning of the match, as the youngsters look on, we talked about Gracie Johnson for Duke. We talked about the freshman Paige Crawford for Wake Forest. But it's Peyton Seuss leading both teams with 4 kills. And the call is confirmed. There is Peyton Seuss, the senior from Caston, Minnesota. 4 kills. Nobody else in the match has more than 1. Demon Deacons up early by 1. Chang serving. There is Seuss again on the attack. Chang flying in from the back row was Gracie Johnson, second in the ACC in kills.
And you can see why. That was a high-flying back row attack. Beautiful set, perfect timing, just tooling that off the middle blocker. Wake Forest just not pressing over enough on that block, and it tools that outside hand.
What a season Johnson is having. 385 kills heading into the match. Nobody on Duke has more than 200 closer to her, and now Duke on a run answering. Remember, they went up 4-1 early. Wake Forest responded, and the Blue Devils retake the lead here in set number 1.
Both of these teams telling us they want to establish those middles to get them going, hoping to open up just to have one blocker out for their outside pin hitters.
On the attack, Wake Forest. That one scooped over, and diving was Yap with the dig. Heck of a defensive play by the Blue Devils, but it's Wake Forest getting the point.
That was a nice coverage by Wake Forest, as we call a recycled swing. The blocker hit that one in the block. The players were right around it to cover it with a beautiful lift to give your setter a nice opportunity to set wherever she wanted.
Kalani Willock, they call her the heart and soul of the team. 17 aces on the year for the Texas native. There is the Wake Forest block, but that one out of bounds as Duke up by 1. Wake Forest does have 2 blocks tonight already. You got to look at Rachel Richardson coming off one of her best matches of the year. 14 kills and 3 aces in a Duke win, but Wake Forest sending one home. We're tied again. A little back and forth from Cameron.
Just snuck that one by the double block. Quick little 1-2 punch behind the setter.
Olivia Frankie, the junior from McLean, Virginia, serving top 3 on the team in kills and blocks. And Wake Forest with the point. They've been right up there at the net aggressively so far, Nicole.
Well, they are going after that blocking game, that's for sure. They're getting good reads on the block and putting it up a tough spot for Duke to try to get by it.
Duke hitting just .067. The Demon Deacons 250. There is Johnson swooping in for the kill.
And we are just exchanging side outs at this point. Each team going back and forth. Both of them siding out around 55% respectively. And also the point scoring. They're both about 45%, so we're pretty even going into our 6th tie here for the evening.
Lee Cato, the sophomore, serving for Duke. That one into the net. Wake Forest unable to keep it alive.
Looks like that set was a little bit quicker than she thought. Couldn't quite get it, reaching for it, but just not enough to get it over the net. A little bit past that antenna, trying to keep it alive.
Cato serving again for the Blue Devils. Diving to keep that one alive, the Duke defense.
Well, I like that attack from Crawford. She came in a little thumb down angle right over those 2 blockers.
Andrea Fuentes, the grad student, formerly played for Missouri, nearly 5,000 career assists, surpassed 1,500 with Wake Forest in her last match. That one off the Blue Devils and out of bounds. Yap couldn't get all that one. Point Demon Deacons.
The fearless Crawford putting that ball away whenever she can, in system or transition. She is getting that ball and helping this squad all season long.
2-time ACC Freshman of the Week. Team leader in kills, 2nd in aces. That one set up high for Johnson. Gets so much air underneath it, but it's Wake Forest getting the point. They're now up by 2.
She really does. She comes in and has quite a vertical. That one just rotating her body a little bit too much, and that's what caused it to go wide, out of bounds.
2 kills on 6 attacks now for Gracie Johnson, and there's the ace for Wake Forest.
And that's what they need to do to keep the pressure on. Get some aces. When you get those opportunities with a free ball, you got to put that ball away as well. And Wake Forest is really capitalizing on that this set so far.
Fuentes with the 118th ace of her career. Demon Deacons by 3. That one, the set wasn't the best. Johnston tried to scrape it off the floor, and the Demon Deacons on a 5-0 run. We'll be back from Durham. Wake Forest on a 5-0 run, and Duke head coach Jolene Nagel said, listen, I'm worried about this rematch because In the first meeting between these two squads 10 days ago, it was all Duke. She was worried her team would come in a little overconfident. Wake Forest, conversely, would be fired up after getting swept in that one for Duke. That .291 hitting percentage, that was their highest hitting percentage in an ACC match this season. And again, it's Wake up by 4 here in set number 1. Johnson answering, however, out of the break.
Well, Johnson just came up right out of that timeout with a huge crush. 1-2 step close. She has a nice approach every time, coming in hard. That arm back, don't know what she's going to do, crush it or go short tip, but wow, what a powerful swing.
24th in the nation in kills per set this season for the senior from Virginia Beach.
Looks like that one in the antenna. Antenna looked like it was wobbling a little bit there.
A little discussion taking
Not sure,
place.
Everyone's kind of talking about it.
Now Wake Forest has 1 challenge remaining. They have used 2. They won 1.
So if you challenge it and lose it, you lose that challenge. If we do go 5, and let's say they keep the 1 challenge, they would then get 1 more, but you can never have more than 2. So if you go into that 5th set and you haven't used any of them, you keep them. If you did use them, you get 2 more.
Right now, Wake Forest hitting 200. The Blue Devils just 105. The magic number for Duke this year has been 200. The Blue Devils are undefeated, 14-0 when hitting 200, 1-11 when they don't. And again tonight, early on, hitting 105. Well, that first set in the first matchup between these two squads was close. At Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons obviously making a match out of it early on here in the rematch, up by 4. At Cameron, Deacon serving. That one pushed over into the block. Willock. Setting it up on the near side, Johnson. Diving in for that one was Sydney Tomlak, but Wake Forest extends their lead. Deacons up by 5.
Well, Duke not controlling that first contact right now and getting a little bit too tight to the net, which is setting up some nice points for Wake Forest. Just a little touch redirection of the ball, getting those opportunities to score.
That was a 7-1 run for Wake Forest that just came to an end. So serving now for Duke is Gracie Johnson, 119 career aces, top 10 in the nation in aces per set. That's a dart, and there's 120 of her career.
Well, that is a corner pocket if I've ever seen one. I was like, you know what? You don't let that one go. You got to follow it all the way to the line. Nice hand on the ball, and that one just drops right in the corner. And when you're going against the #1 acer in the ACC, you follow that ball all the way to the end.
Johnson, just an absolutely electric player. There is the Duke block stepping up. Blue Devils back within 2. Third Duke block of the night. Wake Forest goes up 18-15.
You can just see Johnson there. She just wants the ball no matter where she is. You can just see it in her eyes. Look for that back row tap now for Duke.
Chang at the net, flying in as well was Fleming. Rachel Richardson. Deacon's defense was steady. Free ball for Duke. Off the touch. Nice rally going here in set number 1. Richardson trying to end it, and she does.
Wow, comes in angle and just turns that down the line, finding the opposite corner pocket as Johnson did on her serve.
14 kills in her last match against BC. That one skimmed off the touch. Deacons up by 3.
Frankie's doing a nice job in the middle for Wake Forest. He's only had 3 attacks so far, but no errors. And that's what they need to do tonight, is get that middle going, keep the pressure on Duke, keep them guessing of where that ball's going to go.
The Deacons with 1 ace so far tonight. That one hammered, the dig by the Deacons. A battle at the top of the net. Flying in, Wake able to save it. Oh, Duke sends it over. Free ball coming up. No, it's out of bounds. Point for Wake Forest.
Well, an out-of-bounds free ball is not what you want to do, obviously, but that was a little bit of a scramble play. I think she was doing anything she could to try to get that ball over the net, but just going wide. And these scramble plays, I think we're going to be seeing them all night, Alex, from both sides of the court. You can tell and feel it. I know we're not there in person, but I can just feel it from home that these teams want this win badly.
Well, be sure to tune into ACC PM with Mark Packer, Trey Boston, and Taylor Tenenbaum. They'll talk football and have the latest from all around the conference. That's weekdays at 4 Eastern right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. Nicole, how about this Wake Forest team? They have dropped 7 of their last 9. We talked about them being in the 90s in RPI, and you said, what was their motivation coming into this one? Well, I'll tell you what, they have found it. They have come out fired up, and taken over set number 1 here, up 20-16. They're hitting .259, and they're holding Duke to just an .074 hitting percentage.
Well, they've obviously come in with a good game plan and are following it, and I think a big part of it is what Coach Smart said for Wake Forest the last couple weeks is competition. Going in there, doing competitive drills, and finishing it. I think there was one drill she mentioned that if the side A had game point, they had to get it and earn it again, and otherwise the other side wins it. And that's the thing, when you're not finishing sets, but you're right there with them, you just got to keep practicing it, getting yourself in those situations, because there is pressure, and you got to work through it. And with a young team, practicing and game experience is going to be huge. So these last 2 weeks seem to have paid off so far from what we've seen in this first set.
Wake Forest getting ready to serve up by 4 for Duke. They're looking for their 998th victory in program history. And right now they have their hands full with the Demon Deacons in set number 1. That went off Richardson. Hold on just a second.
Well, I was going to say, if a buzzer's going off when I'm about to pass the ball, that might throw me for a loop too. So I think that's what the call was, maybe a replay.
It's a heck of a serve, but we'll do it again.
Without the buzzer.
Phillips. Yes, the sophomore from Virginia Beach. Take 2. Richardson off the top of the block. The other way, Wake, and Olivia Frankie, the talented junior, on the attack.
Well, Wake Forest is getting, again, as we mentioned, those positive touches. They're not getting a huge monster block right here on that one, but a soft touch on the block really set that play up to win that point in transition.
Frankie, 3 kills, hitting .750 early on. On the near side, that was a bullet from Carrie Keefe. Free ball for Duke. Chang sets up Keefe. Back the other way comes Wake. That was Peyton Seuss, unable to get to it. Deep in the back row was Gracie Johnson diving out of bounds, and Seuss has been active offensively for Wake here in the opening set.
Seuss is leading charge with 5 kills, hitting .400 right now. And when she's getting the chance, she's making some good, smart decisions on her attack.
Well, if you're looking at Duke, we talked about just a few matches left in the regular season in the 70s in RPI. And their head coach, Jolene Nagel, said, listen, if we're able to win out, they won 2 in a row coming into this one, keep our fingers crossed. She said, we have an important win over a Michigan team that was ranked earlier in the year. And even though they're not right now, it was a big win for Duke. They battled injuries. They lost their starting libero, Madison Bryant, the second week of the season. They beat Michigan without her. What do you make of their chances?
Well, I think if they can get this win every single night is important, and the ACC has just grown year after year in parity. No matter who you're playing, you're coming out and you are battling to the very last point. And when we talk to her, I mean, she has hope and going for it. And again, every single win is going to matter for them to try to get into the tournament. And they've had injuries, as you mentioned, all year. They've battled it. They've done the best they can. And you know what? Right now, they're feeling good with the players out there. And if everyone can stay healthy and win these games, you know, we'll see what happens.
5 teams in the conference ranked in the top 40, and the top 2 will meet on Friday night. Louisville and Pitt. That's going to be an unreal matchup. And moments ago, meanwhile, you saw Gracie Johnson, the senior for Duke, getting her arm taped up a little bit during the break. You see that tape on the right arm there.
Well, I think in that last play she dove, she got a little skid mark on her arm. I saw her get up and kind of rub it. Maybe a little court rash, if you will. Hopefully that's all.
Seems to be okay. Again, one of the top performers in the ACC all year. But her team down by 6 here. Sliding in was Chang. Richardson drops it in. Great touch by the sophomore Rachel Richardson.
Richardson is flying, and she has set that play up with some strong attacking from the get-go. She has been swinging hard. The block is committed to that hard hit, and defense a little back on their heels, and now that is open for her to put the short tip over the block down for a kill.
Reaching for that one was Yap, and flying in is Johnson. They want a touch. Wake Forest initially gets the point, but hold on just a second. We've seen Wake offer a couple of challenges. And now it's Jolene Nagel's turn.
I think does. She's the only one not raising up the hand for out of bounds, so
There
that
you
might
go.
be a sign.
Duke wins the challenge and back within 4. The Blue Devils hitting 125, Wake Forest 300 so far in the first set. That one backs up the Demon Deacons. Free ball coming up for the Blue Devils. They set it up. Richardson. Peyton Seuss trying to answer, getting a hand on it was Underwood. Chang swats it over. Oh, there's Chang with the big block for the Blue Devils. Deacons try taking something off of it. Yap was there. Richardson skies for it. Duke somehow keeps it alive. The Wake Forest block is ready. Punched over. Flying it is Johnson. Takes something off of it at the last second for the point.
That was a little cha-ching with that arm swing, coming in with that arm cocked back, a little fakey-wakey, and a nice over the block to the open spot, a little campfire as we call it. What a rally from both sides of the court. Excellent coverage by both teams, but Duke just putting that one away with an off-speed tip. We've seen a lot of heat from both sides, Alex, tonight, and that's what's setting up those tips to be successful.
Gracie Johnson with a team-high 5 kills, hitting .364 for Wake Forest. It's Peyton Seuss leading the way with 5 on 13 attacks. And both these teams 6 and 9 in the ACC. But the Blue Devils have been awfully impressive this year at Cameron Indoor Stadium. They've won 11 of their 14 previous matches before tonight. Get a look at the ACC standings. We talked about the teams in the RPI, 5 teams in the conference in the top 40 in RPI. Pitt trying to go undefeated in conference play this season, 15-0 to face Louisville again in a heck of a matchup on Friday night. Georgia Tech not too far behind at 11-4. And Duke will face that 10-5 Miami team coming up in just a bit. On the right side of the standings, Duke at 6-9, Wake Forest at 6-9 as well. But again, the Demon Deacons started off the year hot, trying to shake off a late season slump in which they had dropped 7 of their last 9.
And the ACC has had more and more teams in the NCAA tournament each year. So 6 last year, 2 of them were in the Final Four. So look out.
Pitt last year, Dan Fisher's done an incredible job with the Panthers. Play resumes here in set number 1. Duke back within 2, 22-20.
Well, Duke has gotten a little fire these last points, and again, right here, a huge block. Chang putting that block up, and I'd give her the solo on that one.
4-0 run for the Blue Devils. Gap serving again. Richardson sliding to keep it alive. And that one hammered out of bounds. Got a 1-point set. It's just like the opening set in the last meeting between these two squads. That went down to the wire.
Well, Duke has a good rhythm right now with the block, with the set distribution. Getting those middles going.
There's Sydney Yak with the ace. Yeah, her 23rd of the year.
Perfect timing to bring them right in and get that momentum going. And if I'm Wake Forest, yep, timeout. You want to nip this in the bud right away. They've gotten a few points now in a row. You got to stop that. A 6-0 scoring run for the Blue Devils. Want to put an end to that one right away.
Duke's last lead was at 11-10, but they've come charging back. I know the score is tied. Who do you feel like has the advantage momentum-wise?
Well, definitely Duke at the moment, and this is what Coach Randy Smart said, is they're in the sets. They're just not finishing them, and let's see what happens here, because this is the crucial time. What Wake Forest needs to do and improve on is get this side out and keep the pressure on. Finish this set, because now you've had the momentum. They're playing well. Duke got on a little bit of fire right here late in the set now, and they're not going to go down easy.
Well, we know Duke trying to get on the bubble at this point as they get ready for the postseason. But you see Randy Smart there, and these are coachable moments for her squad, because you have freshmen leading the team in kills, digs, and assists this season. They're not necessarily thinking about the postseason this year. They're thinking about it down the road and using these matchups to help these freshmen gain valuable experience.
And you know, here's the thing, Alex. People make good serves. So you shank a ball, guess what? Hats off to you. You made a good serve. I got to move on and focus on the next play. You can't think about it too long, or it will affect the next few points.
Talked about Crawford leading the team in kills, Baker in assists, and Farrell leading the entire ACC in digs. They are all first-year players for Randy Smart and Wake Forest. Blue Devils have tied it up at 22. Johnson just got underneath it, but Richardson into the net it goes. And Wake Forest ends the 6-0 Duke run. Blue Devils with 7 attack errors here in the first set. Kalani Willock serving. So the Demon Deacons trying to get closer and closer to set point. Richardson. And it will be set point coming up for visiting Wake Forest.
Wake Forest did a nice job coming out of that timeout, getting the side out right away and keeping that pressure on Duke.
Rock serving. Set point. Hammered off the block. Back the other way. And that one is in. Olivia Frankie. And Wake Forest wins their first set at Cameron Indoor Stadium since 2017, ending the 5-year slump. And they take a 1-0 set lead here in the rematch between the Demon Deacons and Duke. Wake Forest scoring the final 3 points of the first set to win a set at Cameron for the first time in 5 years. Leading the way was the senior from Minnesota, Peyton Seuss. 5 kills, Nicole, in that first set.
Well, she's a very versatile player for this Wake Forest team, and she's getting it done out here today. When she's not crushing it, she's finding a way to beat that block, soft tips. I think we've seen just a little bit of everything from her, and they're going to need her tonight to keep this fire going throughout each set.
In the opening set, Wake Forest hit 200, Duke just 073. And we said the magic number for the Blue Devils, 200. When they hit below that, they are 1-11 on the year. Duke did have 3 aces to Wake Forest 1, and each team with a couple of blocks. And for Jolie Nagel, this is her worst nightmare. She told us she was extremely worried about this after her team swept Wake Forest. In the previous meeting, we kind of looked at her like, really? You took care of them pretty easily. You had an ACC season-high hitting percentage. Well, she obviously knew what she was talking about, Nicole.
I think so, and she's seen them play, and I think as, you know, Wake Forest coach Smart said they were kind of a shell of themselves after that 2-week travel period back and forth. And maybe Coach Nagel said, hey, I've seen them play better. This was a very off night for them. So they're going to come out. They got beat before. They don't want to get beat again by Duke, so they're coming out and ready to go. And that set, I wasn't sure with it tied up since they haven't been known to finish well, but they really came out of that last timeout and put the pedal on to finish set number 1.
7 ties in that back and forth first set. Here is Sydney Yap, the junior from Plano, Texas, already with 1 ace tonight. 2 strong there to begin set number 2.
Well, to touch on Sydney Yap, she was a setter, moved to DS. So let's just talk about how much work she's put in to learn how to pass, because as we know, setters do not pass the ball. So that's pretty impressive.
For Randy Smart, you know, her squad, she says, coming off losses, dealing with losses, that's not the problem. It's dealing with success. She mentioned when they started off hot earlier this year, they went into a huge slump. She wasn't too worried coming off that sweep of Duke in the previous meeting. It's, again, how does this young team learn to deal with victories, with winning? And that may sound odd, but she says they can't get too comfortable. Once they go on a run, we'll see how they respond here after taking set number 1.
And I think one of the things, well, let's take a look at this nice slide, just blowing right by that block. Nice high swing. As Coach Smart said, you know, the team was happy to get points, but she wants them to be expecting to get those points. And that's part of the going out to compete and getting that experiences. You know, you can't really replicate that in practice the same as an actual game. So the more they get out here and play, the more confidence, the more experience in those situations, the better they get.
You know,
and
the
here's
velocity
a huge block.
Was so strong off the attack from Johnson. That block went flying backwards. Wake Forest pick it up where they left off in the first set, up 3-1 here. Tapped over. Battle at the net. That one out of bounds. Wake Forest out to the early lead, and Duke players want a challenge.
Well, and here's the thing for Duke. They still have hopes of NCAA tournament, so the pressure is really on them. They really need to win these last games of the season if they want a chance to make the tournament. So maybe there's a little pressure on them tonight that's rattling them a bit to have these kind of starts in each set.
a discussion between Jolene Nagel and the official. We saw 3 total challenges by these 2 teams in the first set.
You can hear Coach saying this pass. No strikes for the pass.
Nagel looking for her 480th career victory as head coach of the Blue Devils. Duke block is ready. And once again, that one went back into the face of Ogagar. Kept alive. The left side, Seuss. And Duke gets the point.
Well, Ogagar on that one, I think the block went right back on her head and she covered it over the net.
The senior transfer from West Virginia.
Getting that middle going, and she says, I hope she's okay. That must hurt. Looks like she needs a minute here. Got hit right in the forehead there in between the eyes.
She will stay in there. Team leader in blocks. Top 5 in kills as well, bringing a lot of speed and experience as well. The veteran transfer. Played for the Mountaineers, and there she is with the kill. Ogagar, seems fine to me.
Seems so. Get hit in the head, go back and smash one. Take it out on the ball, right?
She'll get a breather, a couple of kills for the senior from San Antonio. I'll tell you what, this has been a back and forth affair so far. On paper, you thought Duke with so much to play for. Would they run away with it after sweeping Wake Forest? But the Demon Deacons took the first set. They're up 5-3 here, but just like set number 1, now the Blue Devils getting back in it, trying to go on a run.
Well, Johnson there in the front row is an experienced KG player. I don't think she's going to let that happen. Making smart shots, wiping it off the block, keeping her team. You can just feel it out there on the court.
Devon Chang was serving there. Wake Forest doubling up Duke 6-3. Phillips with the serve. Hammer down. Duke answers with the point.
Well, Duke needs to get those middles going. First set, they only had a handful of attempts each. So the more they can get them going, the more Johnson is going to be open on those pins with one blocker. Really distribute that ball to the pins and to the middles.
Georgia Stavridis, the junior from Cyprus, had 6 blocks in the previous meeting between these 2 teams. Duke within 2. Stavridis at the net. There again, the 6'2" middle blocker.
Well, she's already making a difference. Back-to-back plays, and that's why she's in there, trying to get something going in that middle position.
Had a major impact for Duke in the last meeting. Hammer down, and that one will hit the floor for the point, as Johnson unable to save it.
Right in between the block, Duke not closing that one, leaving a gap, and what does she do? She finds it straight down to the floor, and yet again, Peyton Seuss with a huge kill.
Already 21 attacks for Seuss, 6 kills. Stepping in front of that one. Wake Forest back up by 3. Blue Devils unable to get much momentum here in set number 2. Nearly an ace for Wake Forest. Demon Deacons up 9-5 here in the second set.
You know, part of the thing for the freshmen is college season's a little bit longer than high school or club that you might play, so you got to get used to that longer season. Can you handle it all season long, getting those attempts, those jumps, a lot more than they're used to.
That one off the block and out of bounds. Carrie Keefe on the attack. Keefe, the freshman, top 10 recruit in the nation, but had meniscus surgery in May, and really only over the last month as she started to look like her old self.
Well, I know Coach Nagel said they're happy to have her back. She adds so much to this offense for Duke.
Atkinson unable to get it over the net. Keefe had a season-high 21 kills against NC State and has reached double-digit kills in 4 of her last 6 matches, starting to heat up. That one sent the wrong way. Free ball for the Demon Deacons. Swooping into the block it goes. Duke with their 7th point of the set.
I wasn't so sure what was going to happen on that play with that initial contact, but Duke putting a nice swing block up there, closing the block, and that is the key right there. They closed that gap from the last time, and that ball's not going through.
The Blue Devils now with 4 blocks on the night. A big improvement in that category here in the second set, but that one dropped in front of the defender. Back to a 4-point set.
Well, Crawford, you can see she's got energy on the court, getting the kills for her team. 5 kills at the moment, hitting 375. She's just making some great decisions with whatever set she's getting. She's finding a way to get it done.
Crawford and Seuss with 11 kills combined. Chang is behind her. On the far side, it looked like Cadle. It's 11-8 set.
And Duke seems to be going on these little runs. From set 1, they're always playing behind, but you can't even let up, because then they go on a little bit of a run, they catch up. You just got to play a little bit steadier.
Odegaard right into the block. We talked about this block has been night and day for Duke in this set compared to the first.
Well, they're really fronting the ball well. The middles, as you can see, their hands are already up at their eye level practically. And just a nice little 1-2 jump over the net. And that's the key, keeping those hands up. If they're down by your side, that block is a lot slower to get up there.
Too strong for the Blue Devils. Duke hitting 073, Wake Forest 167. And Atkinson gets a breather. Blue Devils back within 2.
Now that was a hit. Coming in on that slide, getting up behind the setter, 1 blocker. Yes, please, I'll put that one away. Little blocker lost that one, didn't quite follow the hitter.
Cadle serving, and there's an ace for Duke. That's their 4th of the night.
Well, and this is what we saw in set number 1. They were down, but then they come back on these little runs throughout the match.
Duke with 173 aces on the year, within 1. On the near side, that was Audrey Douglas. We haven't called her name too much. The junior out of Winter Park, Florida.
And another player that moved position. She was the middle, now playing on the opposite side. And wow, she really sneaked
A new angle we got to look at there. So the call is overturned. The challenge is successful for Duke. And we are now tied at 12 instead of Wake Forest being up by 2. Together serving for the lead. And there is ace number 5 on the night for Duke.
Well, they've got some excellent servers on their team, and they are really coming up right when they need it.
Riley Cadle, her second of the contest, 25 on the year. Douglas sends it over. Chang the other way. Douglas met at the net. They'll try her again this time, pushes it to the far point of the court. Tomlak was ready, diving for that one. Andrea Fuentes unable to keep it alive, and all of a sudden Duke, who trailed for most of this second set, now suddenly finds themselves up by 2. 4-0 run for the Blue Devils. Douglas has been busy, and that one smashed into Sydney Yap for the point.
Well, we knew she could thread the needle the one before. Reverse, but that one, she makes it better, and yikes, look out. I think that hit the top of her shoulder. Definitely has some power behind that ball.
And the piece of that one was Underwood. The Blue Devils back up by 2. Devon Chang, the transfer from UCLA, suffered a season-ending injury a year ago, but healthy this year in a new uniform, helping out the Blue Devils in Durham. Host Duke on a 6-1 run here in set number 2 from Cameron Indoor Stadium. And in this set, Duke hitting .235, Wake Forest just .053. Jolie Nagel's squad trying to even this match up at 1 set apiece. Devon Chang serving for the Blue Devils. Douglas skimming off. It looked like a number of Duke players. Wake Forest back within 1.
Well, Douglas has definitely had the hot hand the last few sets for Wake Forest, getting her that ball in the opposite pin.
Again, the Demon Deacons took the opening set. 25-22. There's Johnson on the back end. They go back to her offensively. Very quiet here in this second set. Free ball for the Blue Devils. They set up. There is Johnson. That one was close, but she gets the point. Duke back up by 2.
Well, Johnson tonight is doing such a nice job tagging that deep corner, deep end line. And that's what you want to see from a hitter, not just going straight down, but getting those deep balls, trying to get it behind the defender, and is doing exactly what you want, painting those sidelines and end lines.
And there's Johnson on the dig, but into the stands it goes. Olivia Frankie on the attack for Wake Forest. You have the veterans like Frankie and Seuss who are putting up strong numbers, and as we said then, a whole crop of talented freshmen, including a number of strong sophomores as well, like the one serving Kalani Willett. A lot of freshmen and sophomores that are loaded with talent on this Wake Forest team. Within 1 of host Duke here in the second set, until that point by Carrie Keefe.
Well, to be honest, I thought that was going over the net, but wow, she got her feet to that ball so nicely and just blast this one right by the middle blocker's outside hand. That is a sharp angle.
Duke serving up by 2. That one goes flying off of Nikki Underwood, the sophomore, and towards the chairs. It's like a broken record. Back to a 1-point set.
Well, I'm thinking the game plan was maybe go out there and just keep hitting as hard as you can for both of these teams.
Frankie. Into the net it goes. Just one ace so far for Wake Forest, 5 for Duke. Wake Forest led early in the set 12-9, then Duke went on a 6-1 run. And there's the point for Wake Forest. Will anybody go on a run here in set number 2? After that,
both of these sorry, Alex. Both of these teams going for their serves, so going to have some errors, but it's just having that balance. And as you mentioned earlier, Duke leading the charge with the service aces, 5-1. That's quite a difference.
The Fuentes serve, Blue Devils go right back. That 6-1 run by Duke seemed like ages ago. It's been back and forth for the last 10 minutes or so. Is Duke trying to pull away here in the second set? Into the net, that one goes. Service error number 6 for the Blue Devils.
If I see a service error and it's long or a little bit wide, just missing a line, I'm okay with that as a coach, but not into the bottom of the net like that one. You got to go for it, but you got to try to get that one going long to that end line to keep the passers deep. But not my favorite when it goes to the bottom of the net.
Last 11 points have alternated between Duke and Wake Forest. Saving that one is Chang. Really dove into the stands to keep it alive, but Wake Forest gets the point.
And a name we've been saying a lot tonight, Peyton Seuss coming up with another big kill. Right in between those blockers, finds that seam and puts it down.
6'1" senior, but a service error ensues. And again, points continue to be alternated.
You know, each team getting a huge point, thinking the momentum's going to change, and then they go back and miss a serve, and that's just kind of lets a little bit of the air out of the balloon.
7th service error for Duke. And we are tied at 20. Wake Forest trying to go up 2-0. Duke trying to even things up. Johnson flying in for the point. Grace Johnson with a match-high 9 kills, hitting better than 300.
Very efficient, consistent player all year long. Just adding so much, not only with her offense, but getting those digs, getting those aces. Really an all-around, complete player.
Seuss on the far side, trying to get the point. Off the touch. Seuss with 8 kills, Johnson with 9. Five ties in this set alone, 12 in the match. There's Audrey Douglas serving into the net.
Well, there are a lot of service errors in this later set of the match. And I know you want to serve tough and keep the pressure on, but like I said, you're getting a huge monster kill and some energy and momentum. You just got to get that ball over, put it deep, put it in the middle of the court, and trust your defense that you can get a good touch on the ball to give yourself a chance in transition.
Johnson serving, 1 ace tonight, 120 for her career. Too strong. Tied again. Eight service errors now for the Blue Devils. Wake's turn. Tapped over. Nice dig by the Blue Devils. Demon Deacon set things up. Underwood on the back row. Flying in for the point is Carrie Keefe. Talented recruit out of California.
Underwood stepped in, got this dig, took some of the pace off it, perfect lift, and a beautiful set back to Keefe. And she is doing such a nice job with that opposite lefty coming in, crushing that ball right by the block.
Want to remind you our next All Access, the ACC Live, premieres Sunday. It'll feature Virginia women's soccer, Louisville volleyball, and Syracuse men's soccer. You'll get unprecedented access into the lives of the student athletes, coaches, staff, parents, and fans, everybody. That'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. And how about a behind-the-scenes look at Gracie Johnson? She has been unreal. We talked about her leading into the match. Second in the ACC in kills, living up to the hype, Nicole.
Well, she sure is getting her chances, and if it's not from the front row, she is coming in hot from the back row, putting the ball away. And here's what I like. She is hitting 350. High percentage. That's what you want to see from your outsides, keeping those airs down. Only 2 airs on the night so far, and she wants that ball. You can tell. I can just feel the energy watching her play. Serving well from the end line and coming in and bringing the heat for her team, and very focused. She is a very hard worker. Coach Jolene Nagel said she's one of the hardest workers she has out there, wants to do everything well. She's carried a big load and has managed it very well. And you can see tonight, consistent player.
Not bad for somebody who was originally a gymnast growing up, but as her height grew, so did her interest in volleyball, and eventually outgrew gymnastics. And Duke is happy she did. What a force she has been throughout her career, the senior out of Virginia Beach.
Are you telling me we might see a cartwheel before she goes up to attack?
That, now? I don't know. She's doing everything else, so why not? Aces, kills, blocks. And a huge moment in this match. 1-point set. Remember, got to win by 2. Sent over into the Duke block, and set point coming up for the Blue Devils.
That one seemed like Crawford, a little miscommunication on the set. Looked a little wider, set inside. Couldn't get that ball over.
Nikki Underwood serving. Into the net, service error number 9 for Duke.
Now the pressure's on the passing game here. Get a nice clean pass to finish off this set.
There's Olivia Frankie, the junior for Wake. Diving to keep it alive. No, ace for the Demon Deacons, just their second of the night, and it couldn't have come at a better time. We're tied at 24.
Well, Frankie is one of those players that wants the ball, and even if it's not a set and putting away the slide, I think she probably wants it from the service line to have some control back there too. And wow, she really did a nice job on that. Good hands on the ball. Let's just talk about perfect timing. And that one just dropped right in front of Johnson. Sometimes you don't see that coming. You think it's coming to you, and then all of a sudden it just bottoms out.
Chang nearly got the pancake. Remember, have to win by 2. Who has the advantage just overall in this match tonight? Because even though Wake took the first set, Nicole, it was by just a 3-point margin, and even the statistics, hitting percentage, blocks, a lot of these numbers pretty close between the Demon Deacons and the Blue Devils.
Well, Duke right now hitting a lot more efficiently in the number game right now. They're at 346. Wake Forest 179. And, you know, side out percentage is pretty even. Wake Forest is almost at 60%. Duke is about 57. So I think across the board even, but here's the thing. We had so many missed serves. I want to come out of this timeout and get the serve over the net. Make Duke have to give you a good pass in a play and get that block up there. As we've seen, Wake Forest has gotten some good positive touches, slowing the ball down, and they've been able to get a good dig and put it away in trans. So trust it. Get the ball in the court. Don't try to do anything fancy right now.
Wake Forest took the opening set. Duke hitting about 180, Wake just over 190 in this set. Duke has the advantage. Seuss leading the way for the Demon Deacons. Johnson for Duke, both seniors having strong performances. Here's Olivia Frankie serving. On the the attack, the Demon Deacons. Duke keeps it alive. Rhea Wood making an appearance, and that'll drop in. We haven't called her name at all. The senior out of Austin, Texas. Duke up by one, 25-24 set point here in set number 2 for the Blue Devils. Sydney Yap, another Texas native for Duke, serving for the set. Into the block it goes, and Duke has tied it up at 1 set apiece.
Well, we knew this was going to be exciting. Every single point, battling it out. 5-setter match, and it looks like we may be on our way there, Alex. I know it's only set number 2, but the way that these games have been going, I think we're headed that direction.
Got a ways to go, 2 close sets. And we are even at 1 in Durham, North Carolina. Number 1 Texas in action tonight as well at home against Kansas. Joining you now in between sets, Alex Loeb and Nicole Brana here. We got a matchup going, to say the least, in Durham, North Carolina. Nicole, 1 set apiece for Duke. Like we talked about heading into the match, it's been the stellar senior Gracie Johnson leading the way.
Well, she is leading the way for sure for Duke with 9 kills. And here's what I like. My number that I like is her hitting percentage is above 300. It's 350. She is so consistent, keeping the errors down. An experienced veteran out there, painting the floor from the front row and the back row, knowing when to do the right shot, and also has thrown in an ace for her team as well. A very dynamic player all around.
9 kills, hitting 350. How about Peyton Seuss, the senior for Wake Forest? She's got 8 kills.
Well, Olivia Frankie is crushing it right now from the middle for her team, setting her when she can. And this is one thing that they really wanted to focus on, was get those middles going so they could open up those outside hitters with maybe only one blocker.
Duke trying to start off set number 3 with a point, but no, it's Wake Forest jumping out in front. Big difference so far. Duke doubling up the Demon Deacons in block 6-3. And the Blue Devils with 3 more aces as well, but it's Wake Forest with the early lead here in the 3rd set. Andrea Fuentes serving for Wake Forest. Look at Grace Johnson with the power for Duke.
Well, she is not letting up no matter what. She is out here, and she knows there's a lot on the line. She wants this win.
Top 10 in the nation in aces per set, top 25 in kills per set. Even up at 1. Duke hit 073 in the 1st set, but 357 in the 2nd. Hammered by Ogagar.
Well, Ogagar came in one. Oh, well, let's see. Maybe there was a net on the play or something. Didn't see what happened there.
Chang serving for the Blue Devils. Nice dig. Underwood was there. Johnson with the off speed. Duke fired up here. Out to the early lead.
And that's the nice thing Johnson's done tonight, too, is if she doesn't have the big swing, she's just putting the ball over in a good spot to cause trouble. And Duke ends up getting that point.
Chang more than 2,000 career assists going back to her time with UCLA. Product out of Newport Beach. Ogagar somehow kept it alive. The rally continues. Flying in on the attack was Carrie Keefe. And Wake Forest gets the point.
Seemed like Underwood was there for that dig, but just fell a little bit short. Got to get in there, be aggressive.
Even Deacon serving. Johnson with the power. This time Wake Forest was ready. A huge windup of Grace Johnson. However, Wake evens up set number 3 at 3.
Both of these teams doing a nice job doing that short over the block, and they're going down. So got to make an adjustment, maybe come in a little bit shorter. I know they're also bringing the heat, but those balls have to come up.
Chang setting up Johnson, and that one is in. Double-digit kills for the senior with 10 while hitting .333. Was out for a couple of weeks earlier in the season due to injury. One of the 5 Duke players who missed time at various points of the year with injuries. Shaking that one off. Nice dig by Johnson. And Duke starting off hot here in the third.
Nice off speed. Coming in, just 2 blockers up, and just a short little roll shot. Wake Forest crisscrossing there on defense, but didn't get the dig.
And Nicole, different energy for the Blue Devils coming out here in the third set. A little bit more swagger.
Well, they've got Wood in there on the outside, and sometimes putting a new player in there, seeing how it's going to go, bringing some different energy. Doing a nice job.
Carrie Keefe, the talented freshman, number 11, went 35-0 last year, final year of high school. Our high school team, Marymount, finished number 1 in the nation in that undefeated season. Diving for that one. The Deacons try and send it over, but look at Keefe and the stare down afterwards.
Well, Keefe got a good 2-handed block, and that one came right back over, and just a little left-handed redirect straight down. And here's the scary thing. She is only a freshman, so keep an eye on her. That's going to be fun to watch her grow and get more experience, and she's already playing at such a high level.
Hitting 4-12 in their last meeting. Again, only been fully healthy for about the last month or so during her first year with the Blue Devils. Tonight, 6 kills, hitting better than 400 so far. Johnson was there. Somehow Peyton Seuss kept it going, but it's Duke with the point.
Looks like it was called for a 4th touch on that one. I think Duke wasn't sure that ball had come up off the ground, so they kind of paused, but then they get called for a 4th contact.
Duke on a 5-1 run. This looks like the Duke team that took the court in the first matchup between these two squads when the Blue Devils swept Wake Forest.
And I think, as I mentioned earlier, they have pressure. They need to get these wins if they want to have a chance at the NCAA tournament. So maybe came out a little stiff, a little nervous. But as the match has gone on, they've put together some good runs and gotten more consistent.
Kendall Phillips, sophomore from Virginia Beach, serving. Chang with the setup. Back the other way comes Peyton Seuss yet again. She's up to 10 kills.
My eyes are going all over. 1 minute it's here, then they're getting it, they're covering it, they're getting the kill very quick. Both of these sides running a fast offense, trying to beat those blockers.
28 attacks for Seuss, the senior. The freshman Keefe.
Looks like that set just a little bit past Keefe. Tried to get it in the court, but tags the antenna, which is out of bounds.
Another Phillips serve on the way. Deacons back within 1. Service error number 6 for Wake Forest. On the night, the Demon Deacons hitting 157, Duke 176. Arthur Phillips, like it may have been headed out of bounds. Regardless, Wake Forest pulls within 1.
I think I heard a few out calls, but here's the thing. Once you've already committed, you're not going to be able to get out of the way. So commit to that pass and get a good one, and she did. Once again, Peyton Seuss there for a nice off-speed shot over the blockers, clearing that block.
The 6'1" senior, the only Demon Deacon in double-digit kills right now. Every single set has been close. The Duke will go back up by 2. Wake Forest took the first set 25-22. Duke the last one 26-24. And it's a 2-point set here in the third. Sydney Tomlak, the freshman out of Oakland, Michigan, serving for the Blue Devils. 5 aces on the night for Duke. Truman the block, 1-point set.
Frankie going back there to the service line, has a tough serve.
Swooping in is Grace Johnson, denied. They go back to the senior, and Duke ends up getting the point. You wonder when she's going to get tired exerting all that energy. Those swings are monstrous.
I know I'm feeling tired already, but she is coming in with authority every single time. Swinging away and putting that ball down. If not the first time, the second.
28 attacks for Johnson, a lot of them with tremendous power. Take something off of that one. In the middle, Wake Forest is there.
Looks like they called a net on Duke. Didn't see that one in the play. I was following the ball, but looks like maybe a challenge coming in. Or never mind, she says. Nope.
No, we saw the green card make an appearance. We've already seen 4 challenges tonight.
Yep, tried to push that one over, kind of shoving it by the block, but on the way down, looks like she touched the top of the tape.
Grace Johnson, she was up there forever, but Wake Forest was ready. Gave them a little time. She was up there so long to prepare.
Well, you could see the energy right there from Douglas for that big block. She's trying to get something going here with her team, even though the score is tight. Kind of feels like Duke has the momentum at times throughout the rallies.
Andrea Fuentes spent her first 4 years at Missouri, the last 2 with Wake Forest. Johnson again, too strong. Wake Forest now with the lead.
Well, Johnson is certainly getting a lot of attempts. I'd like to see Duke. They are getting good passes. Mix that ball around and try to get it to some other players so she can have a little break.
Johnson up to 30 attacks on the night. Chang. Johnson again. Wake Forest setting up. Hammered. That one off of Underwood. Flies off the screen. 13-11 Wake Forest.
Right now, momentum with Wake Forest. Nice footwork to the ball. Got to that set, you know, and that's the key, is the footwork. If you're not getting the right set in the right perfect spot, you think, good step close, keep it in front of you, high contact.
Chang to who else? Johnson, and she answers with the point.
Well, I think Johnson's one of those players that probably looks to the setter, and I have to admit, I was like this at times too. You just say, whatever it takes, get me the ball. She wants this match bad, and she'll do whatever it takes to win.
13 kills on 32 total attacks. Back to a 1-point set. Tapped over. A battle at the top of the net. And it drops down on the Duke side. Ogagar was part of the action, the senior transfer.
Well, that was a nice joust at the net. I think Ogagar had the second contact, putting that pressure on the ball. And that's exactly what you want when you're jousting, to be that second touch. Looks like she put a little special sauce on that one, too.
And Wake Forest follows that up with the point. All of a sudden, a Demon Deacons team that trailed by most of the first half of this set has left us speechless here, but Duke will end up going off the touch with the point. Well, they added 13, then they took it off. Now it's back to 15-12. A delayed point for the Demon Deacons. Yeah, we'll all regroup in Durham. Wake by 3. After getting the scoring squared away, it's 15-12 Wake Forest, the Cameron Indoor Stadium. Set number 3, tied at 1. Wake on a 6-1 run. As we resume play. And that one drops in for the Duke point. Alex Loeb and Nicole Branna here with you. Both teams hitting below 200. That is not good news for a Duke squad. That's 1-11 on the year, where they don't reach that 200 hitting percentage mark, at least by the end of the match. It did hit better than 350 in set number 2. Johnson with the serve. Got an ace already tonight, but Demon Deacons with the point. Back up by 3. Audrey Douglas.
Well, Douglas is doing a nice job on the attack. She's getting that little opening in between the pin and the blocker, and she's putting that ball down. They've got to make an adjustment to close that even more on her.
That one backed up. Emma Farrell, talented freshman. Underwood answers with the dig, but out of bounds. I'll be honest, Nicole, on paper, you look at this matchup, you see Wake Forest had lost 7 of their last 9. They will not make the postseason. They're facing a Duke team that swept them, so you wondered, how would they come out here late in the regular season? What's the motivation? They have been fantastic. They have come to play tonight.
Well, I think no matter what, it's your pride, right? You want to win every game you can. You're a competitor. Come out and give the best match that you can, no matter what. People want to win.
Kudos to Randy Smart, who said she has a loaded young team, freshman leading the squad in kills, digs, and assists. And they're up by 3 here in the 3rd set. Hammered into the block. Maria Wood on the attack, giving Gracie Johnson a breather.
Well, that was a nice dig in transition. Would have loved to see that one go back to the middle or to the back row attack, but set it right in front of her, and the Wake Forest block was right there for a little 1-2 press over punch.
Demon Deacons with 4 blocks. Duke with 6 on the night. Phillips serving. The near side, Keith. Peyton Seuss. Duke sets it up back to the freshman. Keith, they go. Point Blue Devils.
Well, Keith is having a night. She has only got 1 error on the night, and if I were Duke, I'd be feeding her the ball even more.
8 kills, hitting .389, and she's a winner. Again, 35-0 last year for #1 ranked Marymount to end the season in high school. Blue Devils keep it alive. There's Seuss with the point, however. Her 12th kill of the night.
Well, Duke hasn't been able to slow Seuss down. She's getting that ball, and she is putting it away. Hitting percentage was a bit down, but now coming right now in this set, she's at .250. So she has cut down her errors, which is a good improvement, because you don't want to be giving away points when you're getting that many sets. You got to keep that ball in, make good decisions with the set you're given.
12 kills on 32 attacks for the senior. Wake Forest trying to grab a 2-1 lead. Wood sending it too strong. Senior from Austin.
Well, Wood looked a little bit under that ball, came in a little bit early, kind of under that ball, lifted it over the block, but yeah, that was just a little bit too much on that attack.
Duke hitting just .059 in this set. Sent over and surprising the Wake Forest defense, it was Devon Chang.
Well, she has a good percentage on that play tonight. She's feeling the flow, and even though she's off the net, she says, I don't think they're expecting it right now. Let's try to get a point.
That's the veteran presence. They want to calm the team down, trailing here in the third set. The grad student out of Newport Beach, California. Tomlak with the dig. Gracie Johnson back in there with the point.
Wake Forest had a nice block out there on Johnson, but what a beautiful turn on that ball, and she attacked, swiping it off the blockers and out of bounds.
Tomlak serving again. Phillips had to reach for that one. Tomlak. Chang. Johnson. Phillips was ready. Chang to the near side this time. On the attack. Riley Cadle fans weren't happy about that call. Wake Forest momentarily with the point, then they switch up the scoreboard again. Give it to Duke.
Looks like several of the players had the touch symbol left. That was a touch and a good attack behind the setter, known as a slide.
We've already seen 4 challenges. Initial call was the point for Cadle of the Blue Devils. Here's another look. Cadle sliding in. Nicole, what'd you see?
Well, I think they must be looking to see if it was in or out. Looked like it was clean going over the net.
Wake Forest immediately celebrated Nicole.
Yeah, so they were looking for something I didn't quite see on that play. So let's see if we can figure out what they're looking for.
So Wake Forest challenge ensues. The initial ruling off the Cadle attack was that it was touched.
Okay.
There doesn't appear to be anything close to a touch there.
No, I think that ball is much wider than Olivia Frankie's block on that outside hand there.
And you see immediately number 10 at Wake Forest, Emma Farrell, point the finger up, celebrating the point. They didn't see any touch. Quick review, and it's overturned. A big point, big turnaround at this point in the set and in the match. Duke trying to keep their bubble hopes alive with the postseason right around the corner. In trouble right now. Tied at 1, trailing 21-17. Wake Forest has dominated the second half of the set, but back comes Gracie Johnson, carrying this team right now.
Well, whatever shot you are thinking about, she's got it, and she keeps tooling that block well. Wake Forest needs to get those hands up a little quicker to press over and stop that.
Scooped over. Nice defensive effort by the Blue Devils and capped off by Johnson, who now has twice as many kills as the next closest Blue Devil.
Well, these last 3 attacks, she has really taken advantage of that block. Wake Forest on the way down there on the block. Good tool.
2-point set. Make it 1.
Well, this is what we've used to. This is what we've seen so far this entire night. One team goes up a few, the next team comes back with a few. So a good decision to call a timeout right now and stop a little run.
Want to remind you, here's a look at Saturday's Week 12 ACC Network College Football lineup coming up this weekend at noon Eastern, 7-3 Duke. They've won 3 in a row. They'll square off against 6-4 Pittsburgh. Then it's number 24 NC State taking on Louisville. And the day is capped off by our ACC Network primetime matchup. Wake Forest playing host to Syracuse at Truist Field in Winston-Salem. Well, we talked about Gracie Johnson, the senior for Duke, but what about the freshman for the Blue Devils, Carrie Keefe, the next closest in kills? She's got 8 and hitting an impressive .389, Nicole.
Well, she is really fun to watch, and keeping those errors down. When she's getting the chance, she is putting that ball away, off the block, by the block, you name it, she's doing it. And I am excited to watch her play. She is only a freshman, very alert, great net play.
And I wonder what her family is thinking right now, considering just about everybody she's related to has either gone to Stanford or is currently going there. Her mom played there in the late 80s, early 90s. Kristen played volleyball. Dad played hoops at Stanford. At the same time, how about her sisters, twin sisters, Caitlin and Michaela? Well, they played at Stanford as well for the volleyball team, and her brother James is currently a member of the men's hoops team. But not Carrie. She's on the opposite coast right now, playing for the Duke Blue Devils and playing well all season, especially tonight.
You think she's going to bring home some Blue Devil gear for the holiday season?
I don't know if they want it.
The family wrap it up.
A little bit cooler than where the rest of her family is. Reaching for that one is Sydney Tomlak. Great effort by the freshman. That one hammered off Tomlak again. Izzy on the back row. Diving is Wake Forest. Oh, somehow the Demon Deacons kept it alive. Chang with the setup. Johnson unable to finish off the point. Back the other way. Chang falling down. What a rally. Ogagar. Johnson. And it continues. Sent over, diving, and Wake Forest with the point.
This is some amazing defense from both sides of the net. No one wants this ball to drop. Power swings, diving digs, players everywhere, and in the end, a little help from the old net, I say.
Great effort from Kendall Phillips. Tomlak as well, Chang, Johnson. Wake Forest up by 2 in this set. And how about the Demon Deacons getting closer and closer to grabbing a 2-1 lead?
Well, we haven't seen too many of those power shoves, if you will, that we just saw from Douglas, but that was a smart decision to go right by that blocker and get that ball down quickly.
You know, you talk about Duke's offense, Nicole. They hit better than 350 in the last set. But that's been the only set they've hit anywhere close to that. Right now in the third set, the Blue Devils hitting 111, and in the first set, it was below 100.
Well, they've had moments of consistency throughout the night, but haven't been able to, in my opinion, keep it together for an entire set. It's kind of in little spurts here and there, and Wake Forest is taking advantage of it, and they're doing a nice job capitalizing on those transition plays when they have it and serving the ball well. I know they've got 6 errors, but 2 service aces, and they're putting the ball in good spots to keep the pressure on Duke.
Overall in the night, the Demon Deacons hitting 189, Duke 158. Wake Forest playing the role of spoiler in this one. As Jolene Nagel said, listen, as far as Duke is concerned, we've won 2 in a row. If we can win out, maybe get on the bubble in the postseason, but this would be absolutely devastating. Still a long way to go.
Definitely need these wins coming into the end of the postseason. This is when you want to be kind of, you know, getting those wins and then coming into your peak as we start in the NCAA tournament in a couple weeks.
Duke had been so good from the service line in the first 2 sets, 5 aces, but none here in the third.
Well, they had quite a few errors, so maybe they got a little bit tentative, wanted to rein it back a little. But now they've got that confidence from the line, put a little bit more pop on it to get those aces trying to go again.
Diving was Farrell on the back end for Wake Forest. Chang, free ball for the Demon Deacons. Ogagar with the point, set point on the way.
And Ogagar saw Douglas's power tip down work, so I think I'll give it a try now this time.
You saw 2 Duke players converging, and Wake Forest another timeout on the floor with set point on the way. Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, wake up to the ACC Huddle. They'll get you ready for another full day of football. We'll also have halftime shows, pre- and post-game shows throughout the day. It's all right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. ACC Huddle on Saturday. Great football going on, great volleyball tonight in Durham, North Carolina. Wake Forest and Duke going back and forth. Talked about Seuss and Frankie for the Demon Deacons, but how about Emmy Ogagar, the senior transfer from West Virginia, leading the team in blocks. This is a player, Nicole, we saw her got hit in the face earlier in the match. She's been fine ever since and coming up big here a moment ago.
She did come out after that one with a big kill, and she is one of the players that Coach Randy Smart said will do whatever it takes. She has played at a high level, been to the tournament before, and to have that experience to bring to the team, it's clutch, especially when you've got some young players that are out there on the court. Good to have, nice to have some senior, older leadership out there as well.
Postseason success with West Virginia. And so far tonight, transfer with 3 kills and a couple of blocks. Set point for the Demon Deacons. Tapped over by Johnson. They're so used to the power. She turned to the off speed, and it keeps the Blue Devils alive here in the third set. Set point again for Wake. Chang serving. Way out of bounds. Duke within 2.
Well, Wake Forest has a couple opportunities here for a side out, but as we know, Duke can go on a roll, so you don't want to give them another chance. Good idea to call a timeout, make the server think about what they're going to do when they get back out there.
Another timeout, crucial moment in the contest. Heading into this match, we talked about Gracie Johnson for Duke. She's got 17 kills on an astounding 42 attacks. Meanwhile, for Wake Forest, we mentioned the freshman Paige Crawford, 2-time ACC Freshman of the Week. Very quietly has 10 kills. And we say quietly because we've talked a lot about Peyton Seuss, Frankie, and Ogagar a moment ago. A lot of key players in this back and forth affair.
Well, Crawford usually hitting a higher percentage, but tonight below 100, so probably not the night she's used to having. 10 kills on the night, but 7 errors, and you got to kind of rein that in a little bit, figure out what are they doing, how can I use the block, or how can I make better decisions on my attack. But a big piece to this Wake Forest offense all season long.
You know, Duke won the last set, and they started off this set carrying over that momentum. They led for a good chunk of this third set. And all of a sudden, about halfway through the set, Wake took over, went on a nice run, won that really long rally back and forth, and they're up by 2 here. Another set point on the way for the Demon Deacons, trying to go up 2-1. Chang will be serving for the Blue Devils. She has one of their 5 aces so far tonight. Diving for that one, there's ace number 2. Couldn't have come at a better time for the grad transfer.
Well, throughout this match, both of these teams have come up with clutch aces at the end of these sets. That is one thing that's been happening for sure.
1-point set. Never have to win by 2. Another set point for Wake Forest. Ogagar finishes things off emphatically. The Demon Deacons go up 2-1. The senior transfer putting the nail in the coffin on this set. Duke trying to stay alive when we come back. Here's the storyline so far. Just about every stat has been pretty close between these two teams, especially kills and blocks. Duke with 4 more aces. No set has been decided by more than 3 points, but it's Wake Forest winning the first and third sets. Overall on the night, that 164 hitting percentage for Duke. That doesn't bode well for the Blue Devils. They're 1-11 on the season when hitting less than 200. What do they have to do to get going here with this match on the line for Duke, Nicole?
Well, they get going at certain times for a few points in a row, but it has not been consistent throughout the entire set. So they're a little bit hot and cold. We need to have a consistent set from them, not just going on the little runs, but, you know, Gracie Johnson is carrying a big load right now. She has, for example, 42 attempts, and the next highest is 18. Carrie Keefe is that second player, and she's got 8 kills with 1 error. So get her more involved. That's a lot of pressure for Gracie Johnson to be carrying right now. And I know that she's their big terminator, but you got to get that ball to other players to take a little bit of the load off.
Yeah, she has more attacks than the next 2 closest players combined, Keefe and Cadle. As for Wake Forest, Seuss with 12 kills on 32 attacks, Crawford with 10 on 31. And Wake trying to put an end to this one. Olivia Frankie's had a strong match, 8 kills, hitting .438 with 3 blocks. And let's see how the Demon Deacons come out in set number 4. I want to remind you that if you're tuning in to see the start of the Southern Indiana Notre Dame men's basketball game, that'll begin on ACC Network Extra on the app. And as soon as this match concludes, we'll send you over there again to Southern Indiana and Notre Dame. Meanwhile, here in set number 4, Wake Forest starts off with the first point. Paige Crawford, leading the team with 261 kills coming into this one. And the veteran Andrea Fuentes serving 4,590 assists to her career. Going back to her time at Missouri, Duke answers with the point retired.
And again, going out to Johnson, relying on her tonight to bring the offense.
Nicole, during your time, as we see another Duke ace, was there a certain number of attacks where you start to feel that fatigue, where you start to feel, because Johnson up over 42 total attacks already, and we're still going.
I think I never felt it till after the game. Then you feel it. But in the game, your adrenaline rush is going. You want that ball. You don't care. Whatever it takes to get that victory and help your team. Then after you go hop in the ice bath.
I think you're right, because she doesn't seem tired after, what was that, her 44th total attack?
No, she is jumping just as high as the first attack.
Getting closer and closer to 20 kills. But more importantly, Duke trying to even up this match, trailing 2 sets to 1. That one spinning around on the top of the net, and we play on to the far side. Oh, a couple of tremendous digs by Duke, but ultimately Wake gets the point.
Paige Crawford's doing a nice job tonight, mixing up her hard hits with the soft ones.
Douglas serving for Wake Forest. That one hammered into the block by Lizzie Fleming. We haven't talked about her that much. The senior middle blocker for Duke is 9 matches with a foot injury and still not 100%.
Well, trying to turn that ball by Wake Forest, but you know what? Nice hands over the net, cutting that angle off.
Duke up by 1. Blue Devils riding the arm of the fantastic senior Gracie Johnson. Johnson now officially up to 20 kills. 11th time she's done that. Sent over, oh, Farrell trying to keep it alive. The effort was there from the ACC Freshman of the Week, but couldn't save it.
And Carrie Keefe again gets the chance to put the ball away, and she does with the power tip down the line. Really impressed with her decision-making and choices tonight with her attack.
Well, kudos to Farrell. There is Duke trying to deliver the block, but it went out of bounds. The ACC leader in digs. Brandy Smart said the goal is to have her team lead the conference in digs. Farrell, the talented freshman, serving it up for the Deacons and serving up an ace. 24th of the year.
Not only digs, but aces. Calm, cool, collected player.
Nearly got another. Seuss on the attack. This time the near side, Douglas, and the point for Duke.
And I like that set right now from Wake Forest. Setter on the other side of the net, pushing that all the way back to Douglas, trying to keep those blockers split so they can only have one blocker up in their face.
Into the net it goes. Service error number 10 for Duke. Brandy Smart's squad hitting 194, Duke 179 on the night. Tied yet again. That's been the story of the night. Neither team has been able to pull away. That one skimming off of Douglas, and the point for Duke.
And Richardson back in the mix. Took her out, wasn't playing as well as she has been, but now she's back in this set. Hoping to get some more fire going on that outside pin.
4 kills on 15 attacks for Richardson. That one off the top of the net. Farrell again with an acrobatic play defensively for Wake. Seuss keeps it going. Chang. Farrell once again. Seuss off the top of the block. Keith on the attack. Wake Forest with the point. With the freshman Emma Farrell stepping up defensively for Wake Forest. Carrie Keefe up to 21 attacks. We're tied again. Kalani Willock, sophomore from Keller, Texas, serving. Chang sets it up for Richardson. Farrell got a hand on that one. She is everywhere, but Duke able to register the point, back up by 1. Blue Devils in this set, hitting 300. As Richardson coming back to life. We called her name a lot early on in this match. The block is there for Duke, but it went out of bounds.
That was a powerful attack by Crawford, and yeah, that heat bringing against the block just flies right out. Thankfully wide for Crawford's sake.
Tied for the 22nd time tonight. Tells you what kind of a contest it's been. Rachel Richardson trying to untie it, and she does.
From the first point to the last, both of these teams just flying after those balls. No matter where they go, you see several players trying to keep it alive.
Richardson serving. The far side, too strong. No, off the touch, point, Wake Forest.
And I've got to think Wake Forest gaining some confidence within this game. As we talked with Coach Smart, she said they weren't finishing the games, they were keeping up, but so far tonight they've been there. Duke has come back, but Wake Forest has been able to finish off some of these sets.
Served by Fuentes. Duke having trouble on their end, and Wake gets the point. Deacons up by 1.
Wake Forest looking a little like, not a little, they're looking calm, cool, and collected. Duke a little bit frazzled right now from what I can see.
Postseason bubble hopes on the line for the Blue Devils right now. Trailing 2-1, down by 1 point here in set number 4. Swooping in is Gracie Johnson, but unable to keep it in bounds. Johnson has had 50 or more attacks 7 times this year. She's up to 47 tonight. That one into the net.
Into the net, but Alex, that is the first short serve that we've seen all night, and we're in set number 4. That's a serve that I like teams to do to get and disrupt the offense. So I wish we would have seen that earlier, but nice to see they're trying it now.
Cato serving for the Blue Devils. And reaching for that one on the back end. Wake back up by 2, however. Wake Forest coming off a 3-1 win over Virginia Tech, but overall lost 7 of 9, got swept by this Duke squad 10 days ago, but looking like a different team tonight. Sliding over. Seuss. And the point for Wake Forest. Perfect placement by Peyton Seuss. That's kill number 14 for the senior.
Well, Seuss doing a nice job with the patience here, waiting for that set, one step to keep that right in front of her right arm, and she just turns that over the blocker's head.
Duke in trouble here. The Wake Forest block was ready. Back to the freshman. No, that'll be Johnson on the near side. Blue Devils hitting percentage right around 175. Wake Forest has bumped theirs up over 200. Demon Deacons hitting 221 on the night. Chang serving for Duke. Seuss into the block.
Well, that's the first time I think they've blocked her in a long while. So don't get discouraged. Just got to make a better decision. But, you know, Duke has a good block, as we mentioned at the top of the show. So I was expecting them to put up a good block against these outsides. But so far on the night, Wake Forest has handled it quite well.
Punched over. Johnson was there. The far side, it's Keefe answering. And Duke has tied things up. The urgency showing up.
Keefe is definitely one that I would keep setting no matter what. Get her some more sets whenever you can. She is so low air and putting that ball down.
Duke on a 3-0 run. Make it 4-0 with Chang serving after her third ace of the night. Eight aces for Duke. They're on a 4-0 run. All with Chang serving, and Wake Forest and Douglas, they put an end to that.
Douglas going back to her bread and butter, down the line, threading the needle. Duke has not adjusted. I would be closing that line on Douglas and getting those hands over to not let her put that ball away.
Farrell, the freshman, 24 aces on the year. Here's Keefe. Wake Forest got a hand on that one. Seuss pokes it over. Underwood. Johnson. A little less velocity on those attacks now from Gracie Johnson as she approaches 50. That one hammered in by Wake Deacons. Back up by 1. The Demon Deacons trying to put this one away. They lead it 2-1 in Durham. It's been an offensive explosion in this set here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Both teams hitting 300 or better in the fourth set after a defensive battle through the first 3. Wake Forest, if they can take this set, they'll end the match. But Duke ties things up. Had more than 20 ties already in this match. Each set has been decided by 3 points or less. And want to remind you, Southern Indiana Notre Dame men's basketball getting started on ACC Network Extra. We'll take you there at the conclusion of this match. Seuss with the attack. She's been busy offensively for Wake Forest. What a dig by the Demon Deacons, fighting that one off. Douglas with the point for Wake.
And there's the angle from Douglas. Mostly we've seen her down the line tonight, establishing that she can crank it line. And now we see she can crank it angle too. She is just going inside, outside of that block. They have not been able to get a touch on her attacks tonight.
The former transfer from Auburn. Meanwhile, here's Phillips serving, and it's in for the ace.
Perfect serve down the line, tagging it. And again, this is a big game for Duke. They need to follow that ball to the line and be 100% sure it's going out of bounds when it's that close.
Again, Duke's bubble hopes on the line. Keefe has to pull up. Richardson on the left side. Seuss with the attack, 18-15 Wake.
Well, Seuss had the open court, thought that was going to the deep corner, but dropped a little bit shorter. She is just clearing that Duke block. Getting so high, attacking that ball. She has done an excellent job tonight.
Well, don't forget, tomorrow we'll have the women's basketball game of the night right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. Dawn Staley and #1 South Carolina taking on Clemson from Littlejohn Coliseum. Both teams come in undefeated in the young season. Our coverage begins at 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. Well, here comes Wake Forest playing the role of spoiler. They did not look intimidated right off the bat tonight, despite getting swept 10 days ago by this Duke squad. You look at the season leaders in kills, and the top three have followed that order exactly tonight. Crawford, Seuss, and Frankie, they're kills leaders this evening.
Well, they've gotten the middles going at first, a little bit heavy on the outsides, but like to see Olivia Frankie getting in that mix and adding some diverse sets there with her attack. And that's the key, is distributing that ball amongst the different hitters to keep the opponents guessing, so you're not always having that double block up every single time. And right now, Gracie Johnson is mostly getting that double block because Wake Forest knows it. That ball, pretty high percentage, it's going out to Gracie Johnson, and they've done a nice job. But you know what? Johnson is only 5 errors on the night, hitting above 300. So she seems to be handling it just fine.
5 errors on 51 attacks. A lot of energy exerted by the senior. Meanwhile, as for Wake, they're hitting 400 in this set, up to 229 on the night. A little too strong. Nikki Underwood getting ready to serve, 23 aces on the year. Duke on the night with 8 service aces. But it's Wake Forest. They continue to respond every time Duke tries to go on a run. The Demon Deacons back out to a 3-point lead.
And that's one thing they've really improved. Duke would go on a little bit of a run, but Wake Forest this set is nipping that one in the bud right away and not letting them get those 2 or 3 points in a row.
Kalani Willock, the sophomore from Texas, serving. Takes an awkward turn off of Johnson. Ace for the Demon Deacons.
Well, the Demon Deacons are on a roll, and the momentum is definitely on their side. Duke needs a good pass here and serve receiver to get things going.
And the service game really hadn't been there too much in the first 3 sets for Wake Forest. In fact, it was Duke leading in aces, but all of a sudden, a number of aces delivered by the Demon Deacons, 5 points away from taking down host Duke.
Well, they're getting them in crunch time and right when you need them, that's for sure. But they're also serving and putting the ball in good spots. although they're not always getting the ace, they're getting Duke into some trouble with their offense, and they're having to set that ball to the outside, which then enables both blockers to kind of read that and see where it's going to go and put up that double block.
For Wake Forest, how about the two-time ACC Freshman of the Week, Paige Crawford, now leading the team with 16 kills on the night.
She is playing so well.
Kills on the year, yeah.
When she's not crushing it, she is putting it down over the block nicely. You can see her range and patience on that last one there. A little step back. She's doing a nice job for Wake Forest. Definitely love her energy on the court as well. You can tell she's a leader out there. I think the whole night she just had a calm, look at that smile. That's how her face has been the entire match, no matter what. If they're down or up, really like her energy.
Playing like a veteran, helping her team hit 423 here in what could be the decisive fourth set. What a bounce back effort regardless. After they got swept by Duke 10 days ago, and Duke in that match hit season high in ACC play, 291. Blue Devils have been held to a 184 hitting percentage here in the rematch. Willock serving again, nearly another ace for the Deacons. Punched over and in.
And that was the perfect serve. That serve, good hand on the ball, good pop, and what did it do? It just died right in front of Duke, causing that little jumble of rhythm, and Wake Forest capitalizing every time right now when they're getting a chance.
Going on a run with Willock serving. Blue Devils trying to keep it alive. Scooped over, Duke was ready, Chang with the dig. Keith. Phillips was there. On the attack, Crawford.
Well, Wake Forest has been working on finishing. They've been hanging with teams this year, but not being able to finish those sets, those matches. And tonight we can see the improvement. The last 2.5 weeks, they have just done competitive drills, working on finishing, playing, competing. And it's evident here, it has paid off.
Wake Forest has Duke on the ropes.
You can see the players pointing to each other. Great hit, great dig. They are definitely playing well as a team.
Remember, this set was tied at 15. Since then, it's been all Wake Forest. Not too much power on that one. Demon Deacons trying to pick up their 15th win of the season. And their 7th win in conference play. Serving for Duke, Sydney Yap, the junior from Plano, Texas. Booming serve. Crawford. Chang sets it up. Richardson finishes it off. Duke not done yet.
Richardson coming inside and turning that one right back down the line, bringing that block more into the angle and just rotating that right by Wake Forest block.
The sophomore with 7 kills. That one staggers the Deacons defense. Too strong. Now a 4-point set.
Maybe time to call a timeout here for Wake Forest, kind of calm the players down. They're 2 points away from winning this match. Yap is a good server. We've seen her get an ace tonight, so you want to stop that serve right away.
23 aces on the season. Diving for that one. Duke keeps it alive. Richardson on the attack. They go back to the sophomore. And set point, match point coming up for Wake Forest. Olivia Frankie, the junior from McLean, Virginia, serving for the match. But first, a challenge on the way from Duke.
Well, I think Richardson thought that one was in. When she made that attack, I saw a lot of players kind of pointing down to the ground like in, probably very close to tell. We are taking a close look here, as you can see.
The call was no touch. You don't blame Duke for challenging at this point, but to no avail. Call stands.
And
So
you know,
here
Duke
we go.
didn't have another timeout, so maybe a strategy to get a little break in momentum as well. Call the challenge, get your team together.
Match point on the way. Frankie serving. Richardson comes charging in, and Duke stays alive. The sophomore out of Maryland, 20 aces on the season. Match point again for Wake. Crawford taps it over. Johnson was there. Chang back to Johnson. And the point for Duke, they're within 3 with the match on the line.
Now is not the time to let up. You've got to stay aggressive. If you've been attacking that ball all night, for Crawford, I don't know if that set was a little bit off, but she's got to go up and put some heat on that ball and go to her bread and butter at the end of the match and finish it.
Richardson flew up for that one.
She did.
Now keep in mind, no set has been decided by more than 3 points. And this one right at that 3-point mark. Duke fought off 3 set points in the last set. Wake led at 1 point here in the 4th by 7. Again, Duke at 15 and 11 overall. In the 70s, 77 to be exact in RPI. They were hoping to win out in the regular season, hoping to be on the bubble for the postseason. Jolene Nagel said, listen, we had a big win over Michigan earlier in the year without our starting libero. Had a number of injuries, players lost for the season. Desperately needed this win, but they are on the ropes. Overall, 5 teams in the conference rank in the top 40, including the top 2, Louisville and Pitt there, 2 and 5. They'll square off in a huge matchup on Friday night. But in Durham, Duke's night and potentially their season on the line here. Richardson serving. Match point for Wake. Ogagar. And the point for the Blue Devils. They're within 2.
Well, 1 point at a time. Duke doing a nice job getting that ball in a good spot on the serve.
Match point again. Crawford. And Duke is within 1. They continue to fight off match point after match point. And a timeout on the floor. Good grief, Nicole.
Well, this is the way it's been going all night. So what were we thinking? Of course there's a comeback. Getting it close to a tie. And the pressure is on Wake Forest right now, and exactly what they've been working on. Finishing the sets. Duke now getting these last few points, going on a run. Nothing fancy with the serve, and Wake Forest is actually doing a very nice job getting that first contact, giving a 3 pass, as we call it. So that means the setter has 3 options, can set anywhere. They're just not putting the ball away right now, and Duke's kept playing some nice D with a block at the net and making digs.
Over the last 2 sets, Duke has fought off 7 set points. They trailed by as many as 7 here in the 4th, and keep in mind there have already been 27 ties in Durham. It's been that kind of a night between these 2 programs. If you're Jolene Nagel, the veteran coach, what are you saying to your team with another match point on the way?
Just take it one at a time like they've been doing. They've done a nice job with the serve. Nothing fancy, like I said, but their block is really what's the key right now. Getting blocks or getting those touches to give them a chance in transition, and they're putting the ball away. I think probably Wake Forest, you know, whoa, we're on the edge of maybe beating Duke here. Maybe the nerves have set in. But it is 1 point away, one pass. And I'm gonna guess they're going out to Crawford on this one again to give her a chance.
You can see Randy Smart encouraging her team passionately to finish. Another match point. Two players converge. Crawford. Duke keeps it alive. Chang falling down. Johnson. And we are tied at 24.
A 5-0 run for Duke. Unbelievable. Great play, putting that ball away, just playing like they've been here before.
Have to win by 2, and all of a sudden, it's match point, never mind that set point coming up for the Blue Devils after so many opportunities for Wake to finish it off. Gracie Johnson, more than 50 total attacks. Set point Blue Devils. Crawford. And Wake answers, tied again. Getting close to 30 ties on the night.
I think they're going for the Guinness World Records for ties in a volleyball match tonight.
Unreal.
Wake Forest still has Crawford in the front row. Look for the ball. Douglas as well on the opposite's been having some good success. They have some good options in front.
Off the Fuentes serve, a meeting at the top of the net. And once again, match point on the way for Wake Forest. Can they finish off the Blue Devils? Fuentes serving for the win. Richardson. Johnson with the power. Demon Deacons keep it alive, tapped over, free ball for Duke. Chang to Johnson, and we're tied again.
We know she can handle the pressure, so they're gonna get her the ball. She is coming in hard on that angle and just turns it down the line. Beautiful swing, beautiful hit.
24 kills on 54 attacks for the senior Johnson. What a night. Crawford, the freshman. Diving for it to keep it alive was Cadle. Farrell answers for Wake. Crawford with power.
Oh my word, what a swing. That's the power she needs at the end of the match. That is her bread and butter.
Her 20th kill of the night.
That was a picture-perfect play. Nice dig. Perfect set out to the pin.
Match point again. The sophomore, Megan Merrill serving. Chang. And Johnson ties it. She has just been a machine for Duke.
She has handled this block tonight with no problem. I have a feeling after night she's got a big double block in front of her.
25 kills on 57 attacks. Chang with the serve again. Got to win by 2. Seuss, match point on the way yet again.
Seuss is bringing the power as well, coming in, turning that one out of bounds, off the block. No one there to cover that one.
Farrell, the freshman, for the match. Bouncing around. They go to Seuss. Kept alive, Underwood. Johnson. Fuentes taps it over. And Duke gets the point. Tied at 28.
At that point, if I'm Frankie, I am pushing my center out of the way and going up and blocking that ball because Fuentes cannot go above the net since she is back row right now, and that's what they just got called on.
This is unreal. Johnson with the serve. Douglas kept alive. Match point on the way.
How many times have you said match point, Alex?
Duke has fought off 8 set points here in this set alone. Olivia Murphy, the freshman from Indianapolis, serving for the match. Keith bouncing around. Duke keeps the night going. Out of bounds, tied yet again.
There is some major net play going on here. Good reactions by all the players. Little pushes, little pokes. People are flying around, just trying to keep that ball alive.
The effort by both teams unreal. Nikki Underwood with the serve. Off of Keith. Free ball for Wake. Farrell. Fuentes. On the back end, Johnson was ready. Rachel Richardson. Seuss, the senior. Chang. Keith denied, but Duke gets the point as it goes out of bounds. Set point, Blue Devils. Wow.
You can see these long rallies, the players trying to catch their breath.
I'm trying to catch my breath.
Adrenaline pumping. I know, I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm almost going to stand up here.
Underwood for the set. To the near side, and Duke stays alive. They win an epic set number 4, and we're going to 5 in Durham.
What a set that was. My heart rate is racing.
Duke fends off numerous match points, and we're tied at 2. What a night at Cameron Indoor Stadium. A back and forth affair with Duke's season trying to keep their season alive, trying to stay on the bubble. Nicole, this has just been an unreal matchup. What did you make of that last set we just watched as we get ready for the final set of the night?
First of all, I'm getting the heart rate. Make sure I'll be able to make it through this fifth set. But man, that was unbelievable. Wake Forest had 8 opportunities to finish that game, but Duke, no, we're not done yet. They came back, served well. Nothing fancy on the serve, but their block was really helping, and their defensive digs giving them a chance to transition and score points. I mean, I was flying all over my chair, so I don't know what's going to happen here, but I know it's going to be exciting.
Duke fought off 8 match points in that last set. Just an unreal performance through 4 sets now. Here's an overall look at the numbers. These two teams very close in kills. Duke has the advantage in blocks, updated to the second, up to 10, and the advantage in aces as well. But throw all that out the window. Who has the momentum here heading into the final set?
Well, I have to say Duke, because Wake Forest had their chances, and slowly that balloon just was letting a little bit of air every chance that went away. Duke's coming in with that momentum and adrenaline rush from that set. I gotta kind of tilt towards their way right now, but we'll see how it goes.
Remember, they played at 15, have to win by 2. We just saw a moment ago number 7 for Duke, Gracie Johnson. She has 58 total attacks, and she has just 5 hitting errors on those 58 attacks to go with 25 kills. So here we go. The 5th and final set from Durham. Wake trying to play the role of spoiler. Duke trying to keep their bubble hopes alive. And the Blue Devils start off with the first point of the set.
Going to that middle, Lizzie Fleming. I like it. Trying to see if those middles can help him here as well.
With the serve, it's Underwood, the sophomore from Manhattan Beach, California. Odegaard tried to get the point, but Duke carrying over their momentum from the last set, up 2-0 here in the 5th.
Keep your depth, Dev.
Underwood took over as the starting libero 2 weeks into the season after they lost Madison Bryant for the year. Wake answers 2-1.
Got to keep up that aggressive play. Crawford has a very powerful swing. As Coach said, everyone has their bread and butter. She definitely brings the heat.
21 kills for the freshman. Richardson, an awkward looking setup there, and we are tied at 2. Another tie. Megan Merrill, the Ohio native, serving for Wake Forest. Every serve crucial at this point. Keefe into the block, gets the point.
Powerful swing by Keefe, and Wake Forest didn't quite press over and stop that ball. And the power of her swing, that ball just rolled down right in front of the block.
Keefe, the top 10 prospect in the nation coming out of high school, 13 kills, second most. Here's Yap serving for the Blue Devils with the lead. Wake scrambling, sent it over. Richardson off the top of the block. Zeus gets a hand on it, but not enough.
Richardson started off this night, came out for a little bit, and now has been in this last set and now in the 5th set. Really turned it around. Getting some offense going for Duke. And her counterpart, Gracie Johnson, who's been carrying quite a big load tonight.
Duke with 8 aces in the match. Douglas. Chang. Richardson into the block and out of bounds. Duke in control here in set number 5.
Well, Underwood is really setting these plays up for Duke with her good lift on that dig. So those hitters are getting some sweet sets, and it all starts with that pass.
Does Wake have it left in them after they had 8 match points? Couldn't end it in set number 4. They get the point there to pull within 2. Remember, first to 15 wins. Got to win by 2. Farrell, the ACC Freshman of the Week, serving. Flying in is Johnson. Chang goes to the near side. Underwood ping-pongs off a number of Blue Devils. Douglas denied. Farrell sliding in. Seuss reaching for that one is Johnson, and out of bounds. 1-point set.
A lot of flying players back and forth, and you can see on one of those plays trying not to fly under the net. But Seuss going angle for most of the night and now setting up that line.
Farrell serving again, nearly an ace. Tapped over. Fuentes. Farrell. Seuss with the point. We're tied at 5.
Attacking that line, that one going off the high hands, turning it a little bit more.
And a chance to exhale in Durham. We'll catch our breath as well. Tied at 2 sets apiece. That right arm of Gracie Johnson's has to be tired. She has 60 total attacks, 25 kills, and 11 digs to boot, a double-double. As we are tied for the 36th time tonight. Duke on the attack. Chang. Johnson flying in, attack number 61, and it puts Duke back in front. And look at Richardson celebrating for the Blue Devils.
She is getting the hops in. She is fired up and ready to go. I mean, after that 4th set comeback, I think I'd still be riding high too.
Both teams will switch sides after the 8th point. Richardson serving. Seuss on the attack, bobbled, and Duke back up by 2.
Well, that was a powerful swing, but that was a huge block by Duke, pressing over. And when you press over and cut that ball off, it's going to be going straight down.
Blue Devils with the momentum. Douglas into the block and out of bounds. Wake back within 1. Both teams hitting right around 225 on the night. Kendall Phillips, sophomore out of Virginia Beach, with 1 ace this evening. Chang over to Johnson. Diving for that one was Farrell, unable to save it. 27 kills on 62 total attacks for Gracie Johnson.
Well, she is going over that block or in between it, whatever. She has some good vision and making very good decisions with her attacks. And you can see by that high hitting percentage, she is very efficient, keeping those errors down, and that is experienced and veteran play.
The teams now switch sides. Keep in mind, 62 attacks for Johnson. The next two closest players for Duke don't even have double that. Richardson and Keefe have 56 attacks combined. Randy Smart trying to rally the troops. Her team was on the verge of finishing off Duke 8 times. They had match point in the last set. Couldn't put the Blue Devils away at Cameron. And it's a 3-point set. Duke just needs to get to 15 to win it. And a timeout. The story of the night for Duke. Gracie Johnson, the veteran, the senior, carrying this team with the double-double. Top 25 in the nation in kills per set. 27 kills in 5 sets tonight, Nicole.
Well, earlier this year against Michigan, her high was 28. I have a feeling, Alex, she's going to be getting quite a few more than that tonight. She has had so many sets. She is going up there from the first one to the most recent one with the same power, the same leap, and the same passion the entire night. She has carried this team all year and really done a nice job. Athletic player, matured, always comes in and wants to be the best she can, make everything as perfect as she can, works hard. And just last year, I think, yep, there we go. They're excited.
Why not? Especially after the effort of Johnson, who, Nicole, the fans are dancing for a reason in Durham. Gracie Johnson, in her last 2 matches, she has 128 total attacks, 62 tonight, 66 in her last match against Boston College.
She knows how to handle it, that's for sure. Now let me see your moves, Alex. I gotta compare them to the fans.
Not even close. Duke trying to win out here towards the end of the regular season. They won 2 in a row heading into this one. There's 77 in the RPI. If they can win their remaining matches, they have a shot to be on the bubble for the postseason. Nearly got the ace there. Chang over to Johnson. Unstoppable.
Tying her season high at 28 kills. Wake Forest not getting out there to get that double block up, and Johnson is just going right around it.
Riley Cato, sophomore from Parker, Colorado. 2 aces tonight. Seuss off a couple of Blue Devils, and Wake Forest within 3.
Well, Seuss is having some nice success with that down the line hit. Seen a few of them this set, really putting it away, and Duke giving her that open spot, and she's finding it.
Richardson. Chang over to Johnson. That one blasted off of Willock. Farrell able to keep it alive for the Demon Deacons. Chang to Johnson. Batted around. Free ball Duke. Chang tries to surprise the defense. And Duke gets the point.
I was waiting for Chang to do that last set. I thought there were a couple opportunities, but she set her hitters This one, she just went with it, and it paid off.
Devon Chang
experienced play.
picked up her 1,000th assist of the season earlier tonight. Nearly gets the ace. Free ball. Keith with the point.
I think my favorite part besides the kill are Richardson's celebrations. You got to keep an eye on her the next time. She's got some animated fire going. Smart coming in hard. High hand. Look at that extension. Great placement over that block.
What a turnaround. This Duke team at times seemed dead in the water, and they have new life, new energy that we didn't see earlier on, and in control now. Nicole, if you're Wake Forest, you wonder, what do they have left in the tank?
Well, I think they've done a good job throughout the night, keeping it consistent. And, you know, Duke, I think they started off slow. I mentioned earlier they had some little runs throughout the night where they could get that consistency. But this last set, when they had that run of holding Wake Forest off of winning the match, is when I really saw the consistency and fight in them. From that point on and now, they have just rolled it right into this set, really playing some clean volleyball, smart plays, everyone being able to contribute. Gracie Johnson still handling it like a champ, just getting the kills every single time she touches the ball.
In this set, Duke is hitting 571. We talked about on the season when they hit 200 or better, they're undefeated. They're 14-0. Nicole, for most of the night they were hitting below 200. All of a sudden, up to 240, thanks to their effort in this set.
Well, I think they heard you rattling that stat off, and someone told them, "Look, Alex Loeb said this. You better prove him wrong."
I'm sure.
So they turned it around.
Chang with the dig. Johnson on another attack. Set over Chang there. Underwood. The freshman Keith. 13-7 Blue Devils. They can sense it.
Well, and there's the little details here, right, with the blocking. We've seen now Wake Forest have that ball cross the net and roll down the fronts of them. That means they're not pressing those hands over. And those are the little details at the end of the game that really matter. Wow.
Match point on the way. Duke, after committing 25 attack errors on the night, perfect. None in this set.
That was a major monster block for Duke. Straight down on that middle center line.
Match point. Hammered in. Wake stays alive just barely. Now it's their turn to fend off match point. Daly, the junior out of Los Angeles, serving for the Deacons. Match point for Duke. Two players collide and the ace. How about Daly coming up big?
Coming in off the bench, maybe not as warm as she'd like to be probably, but comes in and delivers.
Can she do it again? Match point, Duke. Is it in? No! We play on! One more look.
A nice pass from Richardson there.
Match point yet again. Gracie Johnson for the win. And now it is Wake Forest fending off match point after match point here in the fifth.
Good time to call a timeout. You've got match point. You just did what Wake Forest is trying to do to you now in that last set. They came back, fended off those 8 match points, and now, hey, Wake Forest backs against the wall. They're trying to do anything they can to win this set to 15. Well, now it'll be to 16 if they can tie it up.
Peyton Seuss helping keep her team alive tonight, tied for a team high with 21 kills on 54 attacks.
She's been a player that's been able to play both sides of the pin. Wherever you put her, she is terminal. Cranking an angle, and now, as we've seen this last set, really turning that ball down the line, keeping Duke on their toes. And where should we block her?
More than 800 kills now in her career. And it'll be another match point on the way. 4 match points in this set alone. Remember, Wake was up 2 sets to 1, had match point 8 times in the last set. Couldn't put Duke away. Duke was seemingly in control moments ago here in the decisive set. And now Wake staying alive within 3 and serving.
Wake Forest has been going after Richardson in the serve receive. So far nailing the passes. They just haven't been able to put the ball down.
Daly serving, match point for Duke. Chang, Johnson, and there it is! The Blue Devils have rallied to take down Wake Forest in 5.
What a match we had tonight. Duke coming in, needing to win this match to keep their postseason dreams alive. Wake Forest wanting to win it to get that confidence and grow and finish the game. A lot of good things from both sides of the net tonight. What a match.
Epic night in Durham as Duke improves to 16-11 on the year, 7-9 in conference play, and an impressive 12-3 at Cameron Indoor Stadium, outlasting Wake Forest in 5. For Nicole Brenna, I'm Alex Lowe. We now send it back to the studio. Kelsey Ridge.